Something happened to me last Tuesday that I can't stop thinking about. I was walking to the bakery on 3rd Avenue, same bakery I've been going to for 40 years, same route, same sidewalk. And a young man, maybe 30 years old, walked straight into me. Not bumped into me, walked into me. Like I wasn't there, like I was invisible. He had his face in his phone, thumbs moving, completely somewhere else. And when he hit my shoulder, hard enough that I had to grab a parking meter to keep from falling, you know what he did? Nothing. He didn't stop, didn't apologize, didn't even look up, just kept walking, kept typing, like he bumped into a lamppost instead of a human being. And I stood there on that sidewalk, holding onto that parking meter, and I thought, what is happening to us? My name is Salvatore Benedetto. I've been watching people my whole life, in my shop, on the streets, in the neighborhood. I've seen a lot of changes, some good, some bad, some just different. But lately I'm seeing things that worry me, things that seem strange. Not strange like unusual, strange like wrong. And I don't think I'm the only one noticing. So I want to talk about 7 things I'm seeing, 7 ways people seem to be changing and not for the better. Not to complain, not to say everything was perfect before, because it wasn't. But because I think we're losing something important, and I don't want to watch it go without saying anything. The first thing, people are in a frenzy. Everybody's rushing, everywhere, all the time. I walk 4 blocks every day, same route I've walked for decades, and the energy on those sidewalks has changed completely. People used to stroll. They used to look around. Now they're practically running, weaving around each other, faces tight, shoulders hunched, like they're being chased by something. Chased by what? I always want to ask. Where are you going that's so important you can't walk at a normal pace? I had a customer once, this was back in the 80s, woman named Dorothy Feldman. Lovely woman, always in a hurry. She'd burst through my door like the shop was on fire, drop her shoes on the counter and say, "Sal, I need these by tomorrow, I'm in a rush." Every single time, for 15 years, always in a rush. One day I asked her, "Dorothy, what are you rushing to?" She stopped, looked at me like no one had ever asked her that before, and she said, "I don't know, Sal. I honestly don't know." She wasn't rushing to anything. She was just rushing. It had become her default state. Her whole life felt like an emergency, even when nothing was actually wrong. I see that same thing now, but multiplied by 1,000. People tailgating on the highway like they're in a race. People honking the second the light turns green. People cutting in line at the coffee shop, the grocery store, everywhere. this constant low-level aggression, this sense that everybody's running behind and it's somehow your fault for being in their way. You know what I've learned? Most emergencies aren't emergencies. Most deadlines aren't as urgent as they feel. And rushing everywhere doesn't get you there faster. It just makes you miserable the whole way. So, here's what I want to say to you. Slow down. Not forever, not for everything, but right now, today, pick one thing and do it slowly. Walk somewhere without checking the time. Eat a meal without rushing to finish. Have a conversation without glancing at your phone. The frenzy is contagious, but so is calm. You can choose which one you spread. The second thing, people have stopped being friendly. I mean basic friendliness, the kind that used to be automatic. When I was young, you walked down the street and you acknowledged people. A nod, a small wave, a good morning to someone you passed. Not because you knew them, often you didn't, just because that's what humans do. We recognize each other. We say, I see you. You exist. We're sharing this moment on this sidewalk. Now, people look right through you. I was in the grocery store last week. Sal's not too old to buy his own tomatoes, thank you very much. And I said, "Excuse me," to a woman blocking the pasta aisle. Not rude, just polite. "Excuse me, could I get by?" She looked at me like I'd insulted her mother. Didn't move, didn't respond. Just stared at me with this expression like, "Why are you talking to me?" I see this everywhere now. People walking past each other on sidewalks without any acknowledgement at all. Like they're alone. Like they're moving through a world of ghosts. My wife Gloria, God rest her soul, she used to say, "Sal, a smile doesn't cost you anything, but it might be the only kindness someone receives all day." She was right. She was always right about people. When did basic friendliness become suspicious? When did saying hello to a stranger become weird? When did holding a door for someone become so unusual that they look at you like you're crazy? I'm not talking about being fake. I'm not talking about pretending to like everyone. I'm talking about the minimum baseline of human decency, acknowledging that other people exist, that they're not just obstacles in your path. So, here's what I want you to try. Tomorrow, make eye contact with 3 strangers and nod at them. That's it. Not a conversation, not a commitment, just a nod, an acknowledgement, a tiny moment of human connection. It might feel strange at first. That's how far we've drifted. That basic friendliness feels strange. Do it anyway. The third thing, people have become zombies. I don't mean this as an insult. I mean it as an observation. Walk down any street in any city and look at the faces. Really look. Half of them are staring at phones. The other half are staring at nothing. this blank, glazed expression, like the lights are on, but nobody's home. My granddaughter, Lucia's girl, Maria, she came to visit me last month. 28 years old, smart as a whip, works in something called digital marketing, which I still don't fully understand. We sat down to have coffee together, and within 5 minutes, her phone was on the table, screen up, lighting up every 30 seconds with some notification or another. She'd glance at it, then back at me, then at it again. Even when she wasn't looking at it, she was aware of it. I could see it pulling at her attention like a magnet. I finally said, "Maria, put that thing away. I'm right here. I'm real. Whatever's on that phone can wait." She looked embarrassed, put it in her purse, and for the next hour, we actually talked, really talked, like human beings used to. Afterwards, she said, "Grandpa, I didn't realize how hard it is to just be present." That broke my heart a little. Not because she was doing anything wrong, she's a good kid, but because I realized she'd grown up in a world where being constantly distracted is normal, where giving someone your full attention is the exception, not the rule. I ran a shoe shop for 53 years. You know what I learned? People will tell you things while you're working on their shoes that they won't tell their own family. They'll open up in ways they never expected, but only if you're actually there, actually listening, actually present. You can't do that if you're checking your phone every 30 seconds. You can't connect with someone if half your brain is somewhere else. So, here's what I want you to do. Pick 1 hour today and leave your phone in another room. Just 1 hour. See what happens. See what you notice. See how hard it is. And then ask yourself why it's so hard. Those little machines are convenient. I'm not saying throw them away, but they've trained us to be somewhere else, always somewhere else. And I think we're losing ourselves in the process. The fourth thing, people have forgotten how to talk to each other. I don't mean they've forgotten how to communicate. Lord knows there's more communication now than ever. Texts, emails, posts, comments, whatever else. People are communicating constantly, but talking, actually talking, face to face, voice to voice, looking someone in the eye and having a real conversation, that's dying. I was at the barber shop, same barber shop I've been going to since 1963, though the barbers changed 3 times. And there were 4 young men sitting in the waiting chairs, all in their 20s, and every single one of them was on their phone, silent, not talking to each other at all. In my day, a barber shop was where you heard everything: politics, sports, gossip, philosophy, you name it. Strangers would argue about whether the Dodgers should have left Brooklyn. Neighbors would debate who made the best pizza on the block. Old men would tell stories, and young men would learn something. Now, silence. 4 human beings sitting 3 feet apart, completely isolated. I've seen the same thing at restaurants. Couples sitting across from each other, both on their phones, not talking, not even looking at each other. What's the point of going out together if you're just going to be alone in public? My friend Harold, he passed away a few years ago, but before that, we used to have coffee every Thursday morning at the diner on 4th Avenue. He used to say, "Sal, the best conversations are the ones that go nowhere." He was right. The best conversations don't have a purpose. They meander. They surprise you. You start talking about the weather and end up talking about your father or your fears or what you want to do before you die. Those conversations don't happen on screens. They happen face to face in the same room, with nothing else competing for attention. So here's what I want you to do. Call someone instead of texting them. Just once. Pick up the phone, the actual phone, the calling part, and call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Hear their voice. Let the conversation wander. It'll feel strange. Do it anyway. The 5th thing, people have gotten incredibly impatient. I mean impatient about everything. Waiting is torture now. Any kind of waiting. I watched a woman at the post office last month have what I can only describe as a slow motion meltdown because she had to wait in line for 10 minutes. 10 minutes! She was huffing, shifting her weight, checking her phone, sighing loudly, rolling her eyes. A whole performance. 10 minutes. In my life, I've waited for things that mattered. I waited 6 months to hear whether my cousins in Italy survived the war. I waited weeks for letters that might never come. I waited years to feel whole again after losing people I loved. And this woman was falling apart because she had to stand in a line for 10 minutes. I'm not saying waiting is fun, but this level of impatience, this inability to tolerate any inconvenience at all, it's made people brittle. They snap at the slightest frustration. They rage at delays that wouldn't have bothered anyone 50 years ago. Impatience is a form of arrogance. Think about it. When you get angry at waiting, what you're really saying is, my time is more important than everyone else's. My schedule matters more. The world should move at my pace. That's not how the world works. And the more you expect it to, the more miserable you'll be. So here's what I want you to practice. Wait gracefully. The next time you're stuck in a line, or traffic, or a slow elevator, don't reach for your phone. Just stand there, breathe, look around. Be patient, even if it's hard. You'll be amazed how much calmer your life feels when you stop fighting every moment of stillness. The 6th thing, people have let their hearts grow cold. This is the one that worries me most. I'm not talking about one or two people. I'm talking about a general coldness I see spreading everywhere, a hardness, a lack of warmth. People used to smile more. They used to help each other more. If someone dropped something, strangers would stop to help pick it up. If someone was lost, you'd give them directions. If someone seemed upset, you might ask if they were okay. Now, people walk past. They don't get involved. They don't want to be bothered. I understand why. The world feels more dangerous in some ways, more complicated. There's more to be cynical about, more reasons to protect yourself. But here's the thing. When you armor your heart to protect yourself, you also cut yourself off from joy. You can't be warm toward some people and cold toward others. It doesn't work that way. Your heart is either open or it's not. And if you close it to strangers, you'll find it gets harder to keep it open for anyone. My wife, Gloria, she was a nurse for 40 years. She saw the worst of what people can do to each other and to themselves. She had every reason to grow cold, but she refused. She stayed warm. She smiled at everyone. She gave strangers the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? People responded to that. They opened up to her. They trusted her. Her warmth created warmth in return. Coldness spreads, but so does warmth. You get to choose which one you carry, which one you give to the world. So here's what I want you to do. Be warm to someone who doesn't deserve it. Not someone who's nice to you. That's easy. Someone who's rude or cold or dismissive. Respond with warmth anyway. Not because they earned it, but because that's who you want to be. You might not change them, but you'll protect yourself from becoming them. The seventh thing, people have stopped being real. This one's hard to explain, but I'll try. When I was young, people were who they were. You knew where you stood with them. If someone liked you, you knew it. If they didn't, you knew that too. People had opinions and expressed them. They had personalities that weren't polished or curated. Now, everyone seems like a performance, like they're playing a character instead of being a person. I blame those screens partly. People spend so much time presenting a version of themselves online, the best version, the filtered version, that they forget how to just be themselves in real life. My granddaughter Maria told me once that people her age have personal brands. I didn't know what that meant, so I asked. She said it's like the image you project, how you want to be perceived. I said, what about just being yourself? Isn't that enough? She looked at me like I'd said something from another century, which I guess I had. But here's what I believe. The people who matter will love the real you. And the people who only love the performance, they don't actually love you at all. You can spend your whole life curating an image, and at the end, you'll realize you never let anyone actually know you. That's a tragedy. That's loneliness disguised as popularity. So here's what I want you to do. Be real with one person today. Not the polished version, not the performance. Tell them something true, something you're worried about, something you're proud of, something you usually keep hidden. Real connection requires real honesty, and real honesty requires courage. I'm 106 years old. I've seen the world change in ways I never could have imagined. Things that seemed impossible when I was young are ordinary now. Things that seemed ordinary have disappeared entirely. Change is not the enemy. I'm not saying everything was better before. It wasn't. The past had its own problems, its own blindnesses, its own cruelties. But there are some things that should never change. Human connection, basic kindness, the warmth of looking someone in the eye and actually seeing them. Those things aren't old-fashioned. They're essential. They're what makes us human. And I'm watching them slip away. Not because of technology. Technology is just a tool. It does what we tell it to do. No, we're losing these things because we're letting them go. Because we're choosing speed over presence, performance over authenticity, screens over faces. We can choose differently. You can choose differently. Tomorrow morning, when you walk out your door, slow down, look around, make eye contact with someone and nod. Be friendly, even if it feels strange. Put your phone in your pocket and actually be where you are. Be a real human being in a world that's forgetting what that means. It won't change everything, but it'll change you. And enough people changing, that changes everything. Arrivederci.